You're listening to the I Love Mortgage Brokering Network, brought to you by Finmo.
Hey, Scott Beckford here. If you're making $100,000 plus a year as a mortgage broker and want to go to 200, 400, or more, check out our 10 Loans a Month Academy. We have several coaches who are all top performing mortgage agents, and they'll teach you their one special skill. Think of it like Xavier's School for Gifted Children if you've ever watched the X-Men. The difference is our coaches will teach you their superpower. One of our coaches, for instance, he built a $70 million a year business using automated webinars. Or another one of our coaches who did $100 million last year, built that with a third of it coming from Google reviews. And so he'll show you exactly what you need to do if you want to be able to build that type of business. Here's the thing I believe to be absolutely true. There's no problem in your mortgage business today that someone else hasn't already solved. Your problem is not how, your problem is who. All of our amazing coaches are active, high-producing brokers, and they can help you unlock new levels in your mortgage business. Since they're all active, we have a wait list and we have a limited number of spots available. So you can check out 10loansamonth.com. That's the number 10loansamonth.com. We only open spots a couple times a year. Check it out. And thanks again for checking out this episode.
You need to find the ones that you vibe with. And the only way you can do that is if you keep talking to people and if you keep having a conversation, engage with them. Because I was scared. I was really conservative. I was very picky, and I don't think I should have been. I should have just been like, hey, what's up? I'm new in the industry.
How you doing? Like you see those dating video, whatever. Right. So pickup lines like, hey, what's up?
The most inspiring stories from today's most successful mortgage brokers. Join your host, Scott Peckford, on I Love Mortgage Brokering.
Hey, Broker Nation, Scott Peckford here. Welcome to the I Love Mortgage Brokering Rookie Mortgage Broker Podcast. Every Friday, we talk to an amazing rookie who's making waves in the mortgage industry to check in to see how they're doing, what are they doing to be successful, and absolutely love having these conversations. And today I had Isabel come on the show. And Isabel, if you remember, or maybe you don't know, but I did a series of coaching with Isabel and Enrique, where we helped coach them to their first $5 million in production. So that was earlier in the year. And I just wanted to check in and be like, how's it going? And so she's on track to close $10 million this year, which is amazing. And a couple of big takeaways from this episode. She shares how it took a couple tries to find the right fit when it came to brokerages. And so she goes into a little bit about this. And I asked her how it affected her confidence. She said, not being in the right fit was really hard for her. And when she found the right fit, then it was like, oh my gosh, this was one of those pieces that you need to get in place. And the other thing she talked about was how feeling bad about having to change. And I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation I have with her about that. And then I asked her about, sales versus underwriting, which of those skills were harder for her. And so for her, even though she's a fantastic communicator, she said that the sales were a little bit harder and she had to work on the mindset piece, which really helped make that shift. And I can't tell you guys how many times that this comes up, mindset. And so highly recommend that you really start to cultivate that bulletproof mindset if you want to build a successful mortgage business, regardless of if you're new or if you're experienced. A couple quick things. First, before we get into this episode, we recently started a brokerage called ILMB Mortgage Pros, where we actually train new agents. So we take them under our wing, we train them in sales and underwriting and help them find and fund their first 10 mortgages. And so if you're interested in finding out info on that, go to get10funded.com. That's get the number 10 funded. And also, I want to give a shout out to our title sponsor, Finmo. This is for our Canadian listeners anyway. It's an application, document collection, and submission platform, over 258 lenders. And so our senior underwriter, who's been using another platform, I'm not going to name the platform, but for 19 years, she's been using the same platform. And she's like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how intuitive Finmo is to use. And so whatever platform you're using, I'm just saying that, for us, we have found that this has been very effective. She said it's very intuitive. The agents love the fact that it figures out what documents that you need, and it's very smart. And then she said also the customer support is amazing. So questions are so fast at getting back to you. So if you're interested in finding out about Finmo and how it can help you run a more efficient business, go to finmo.ca/ILMB. That's finmo.ca/ILMB to check that out. And thanks again for checking out this episode. Hey, Isabel, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Scott. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, hey, I wanted to just check in. We never really did a show just about you and your story. And so this is what I was hoping to do today. So tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and then how you got into the mortgage business.
Absolutely. So, obviously you guys know my name. I'm Isabel. I'm 27. I turned 27 this year. And my background, I guess, before mortgaging, I was mostly in HR. And then I dabbled into sales as well, B2B and B2C sales. Industries that I was in was tech and automotive, really. So mostly tech industry for HR. And then I got into the sales in the automotive side, but not in the dealership spectrum. I was mostly in the B2B. So I was doing leasing for corporate accounts. And that was really fun. I learned a lot. And whatever I did, I learned a lot. I took a lot away, which really, I think, is what made me who I am on a personal note and as well as a professional. It's really
what led you out of HR and out of sales into being a mortgage broker? Because it's not like there's a direct link like, oh, I know. Like, so how did you get there?
I've always had this huge passion for real estate. Even while I was working, my goal was to purchase investment properties for my family. It was something that I wanted for my future kids that I can pass down to them. And at the same time, it's just something that I love. Interior design, that's what I took in school, and seeing transformations from like rundown houses to a beautiful home, that's just something that speaks to me. And I think it all just ties together. So while I was working, it was more like to get through life. I had to pay my bills. Something had to pay the bills. And then I was trying to pursue real estate bit by bit. And I was trying to find my path to get to real estate. Unfortunately, like getting the real estate license wasn't really an option because it was very expensive at the time and it didn't fit me and my boyfriend's budget at the time financially.
You mean becoming a realtor? Is that what you're
thinking? First thing that I thought it was becoming a realtor.
Yeah, if you have the interior design, you can walk around the house.
Exactly.
And them and so, then, so you didn't go down that path. So then,
no.
Were you still working in HR when you decided to do the mortgage thing, or like, what was that like?
No. So I was actually already in the automotive business. So I was an account executive. And then I was like, you know what? I still really want to do this. My boyfriend now had finished school. He had a really great job and we were a little bit more flexible financially. So I decided, I'll enroll in the course. And I'll take like the month and a half long where the classes were on Sundays, right? Because I was working Monday to Friday. And then the unfortunate thing happened. The funny thing is I enrolled on a Friday night. And then the following Monday was the day I got unfortunate news that I was, being like, oh, and this was last year.
This was during COVID.
All laid off.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, Isabel, you're terrible at this job. And
no. it was that. Yeah. And then when that happened, I was like anxious, but at the same time, it was like only for 5 seconds. And I saw this big window of opportunity that I'm like, hey, I'm going to take my course the week. Like I'm going to change it to the 1 week course and get right into it. Right. So I did that. And then I jumped right into the mortgage industry full time.
So what date was that? How long ago did you jump into the mortgage industry?
This was March. So
March of
2020. And then I officially got my license mid-April. It took some time to process because of COVID and everything. But I was officially licensed mid-April, April 14th to be exact.
So you now just over how many, like 15?
Just a month and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 months.
And
okay.
I'm still here.
When you talk about little kids, you're like, oh, she's 15 months. It's kind of like,
yeah.
And he's 1.5. I'm just teasing.
My business is a baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the same idea. It's like your mortgage business is your baby. Okay. So obviously I was going to ask if you started full time, but being that you were let go from the other job, obviously you jumped in full time. So for you, what was the biggest challenge of kind of going from, a cold start into this?
It was getting used to the fact that you're not getting, your biweekly pay. You don't know how much you're earning, right? I was a stickler for budgeting. Like I knew how much I was earning on this day, when I was getting paid and what bills were coming out. Like I was that person and then how much to put away. So getting used to that was very tough. It was difficult. But, I just had to keep going. I was enjoying what I was doing, despite all the roller coasters and starting up and being self-employed. I was enjoying when I had the chance to talk to clients, to talk about mortgages, to talk about real estate to my fellow investors, my friends who are investing, just being an added person to them, like as a resource, basically, right? I can finally add value to my relationships with my friends who are investing, people that I want to be as well eventually, right? They have 5 real estate properties. Like I want to have 5 real estate properties. So It's about reciprocating that, right? We're friends, but they're teaching me, but I'm also now adding value by giving them insight in the mortgage side and the financing side. That was really exciting.
So I have a question for you. How long till you closed your first mortgage?
So April, I started my first mortgage closed October of 2020.
So May, June, July. It's like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, 5 or 6 months. It was a lot of like putting myself out there. And this was not a friend either. This was somebody that I had met through my network on Facebook of investors. I was just reaching out. Like anytime there was a question, I would reach out. I'd message them. And I wouldn't say, hey, hopefully I can work with you. I would just answer their question, right? Without expecting anything. For me, it's about giving value. And then that's where it all started.
Was there any point that you questioned, like, hey, am I in the right industry? If you're like, should I do this? Because, I'm curious if you ever, did you question that?
Absolutely. That's like 100%. First 6 months, definitely. Finding the right brokerage was one of the things that I had to do. Obviously, I think all of us do, but it's finding that right one, right? There's a difference between just joining a brokerage that you find right away and actually looking at how can you be successful and what do you need to be successful? Because everybody's needs are different, right? We all learn differently.
I agree. It's important to find the right. Like, it's like finding a significant other.
That's exactly
and it's going to
it.
be different for everybody. Everybody's going to have a different, like what they ultimately, So did you find the first brokerage right out of the gate, or did you have to change, or what happened there?
I had to change twice. I stayed in the same network for the first 2 brokerages. And then after the second one, I was like, okay, I really need to hone down on this. I don't want to keep switching because I'm now like 5-6 months into my first year and I feel like I haven't done anything. I feel like I haven't moved the needle as somebody going into the mortgage business, right? So I started just to go out there more. And then I was talking to somebody that I was admiring on Instagram, actually, who's an agent. And they were the ones who basically said, hey, you should talk to a broker. And that conversation changed my life. That's what brought me to where I am now.
Yeah, that's cool. But,
really
so
awesome.
Like I've heard people, so did you like, and this whole switching thing, I asked you about that for a second. So did you like struggle with that being like, okay, I started here, now I'm going there, and you feel like, I just want to get my business going. Like, how did you feel about that? Because I'm curious.
I was frustrated, and I think I was more frustrated with myself. I felt like I didn't know what I wanted, and I felt like I was just not getting what I needed. Yeah. And then at one point, I started feeling like maybe I'm the problem.
Right.
That's when I started to question myself. I'm like, maybe I'm not right for the business. Like, should I keep going? Should I just go find a part-time job? I mean, this is COVID too, and it's like, how am I supposed to find a job during this time? It's been so tough. Like, it was a lot of ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, I kept going, but don't get me wrong. I questioned myself a lot to be in this, whether I should stay.
And I know, in the brokerage, you have a good brokerage. I know the people there, they're good people and stuff. So, there's no doubt about that. Did you ever feel awkward about going to the person that you said, hey, oh, by the way, I'm leaving? Like, what was that like?
So, funny part was I was open to the conversation because I will never turn down an opportunity to have a conversation.
No, I'm meaning the one you left. So when you left, like, it's kind of like breaking up with the boy. You're like breaking up with, hey, it's not you, it's me. So like, what was that like in terms of?
I had to have that conversation. I think that was something I learned from HR. It's learning how to have the tough conversations. I had to be honest. And I feel like I owed it to them to be as honest as possible without burning any bridges.
I was about to say that it's a small industry. Like I had it's funny how people you work with a little bit, they go away and who knows, 5 years later, you're working with them again. Yeah. You don't know who you're going to work with. And so.
Yeah. And I mean, I would never want to burn any bridges, but it really also depends on how the other person takes it.
Hopefully they feel the same way about not burning bridges. And
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. But, I had to tell them and then I made the move because during that transition, I was actually already working on my very first deal that closed. It wasn't going to close. It was like at the point where they were either going to find another broker who was going to make it happen or lose the property, right? They found the perfect property. And this is where all the realizations came up. And this is where I started to also see that it's so important for the brokerage that you're at to understand the kind of business that you want to do and how you want to do it, because they are the ones who are going to be able to support you rather than telling you, no, don't do it this way. It was more like, how do you like to do business, right? Do we fit? Do our values fit? Do our morals fit? Like as an agent and as a brokerage, do they fit together? Because if they don't, then you're just going to keep clashing, right? And during this first deal, the process in closing this, my first deal, that's where I really started to see. And that's where I saw that this brokerage that I'm at right now, the Mortgage Coach, was the perfect fit for me, because the support system is insane. It gave me that boost of confidence, the confidence that I was losing when I started to get into the industry.
Right. That's really important. So let me ask you this. So what surprised you most about the mortgage business? Because you had this passion for real estate, but you don't really know what you don't know, right? Till you get in.
Yeah. Oh, it's the amount of possibilities, the amount of options that we all have to get into real estate. It mind boggled me how many programs there are. And even like with insurers, like they don't just have the first time home buyer incentive. There are other things that they can do, not just on a residential spectrum, but also in commercial. Like it's just, there's so many out there. And that part really excited me more in this business, because I am now somebody that can help educate, my network and their network. I can be that person, that resource to people who want to speak with me, and seeing how they can use real estate as a vehicle for financial freedom and to set their families securely, right, in the future. It's amazing. That's what really surprised me. It's just the amount of information and stuff that you have in the mortgage industry.
Right. Yeah. I always think like the complexity is always increasing. The information and misinformation is increasing. And so why it's so important as a mortgage agent to be an advisor and guide your clients.
Yeah. And sorry, just to add to, and just, I know that a lot of us were told to go to the banks to get a mortgage, but one thing that also, I wouldn't say shocked, but really excited me is that there are ways, like just by having a good relationship with your lenders, you can make things happen. It's that conversation, that story you tell on behalf of your clients that really changed the game for you. It's not always about, do you check all these boxes? No, there's so many other things that you can do to make things happen without crossing that, line of legality.
Exactly. Being like, hey, this is exactly, like fraud.
I just have to mention that.
You don't want to be like, hey, no, that's true. So I always think with, in the mortgage space, there's kind of two distinct skills you must learn when you're new. The first is sales skills, and then the second is underwriting. Which one was harder for you?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I mean, when you say sales,
I mean, like business development, getting leads, getting people to refer you, talking to realtors, talking to centers of influence is what I would say on the sales side, or also convincing the client to work with you. So you've got a lead, but they're like, I don't know if I want to work with you yet. And so that's a whole other conversion conversation you need to have. And then underwriting is like, okay, now that I've got them,
the paperwork,
now I got to get it approved. What was harder for you?
So I think because from a personality standpoint too, like I was a little bit shy to put myself out there when I started. So I think with this question, I think I would say sales was the hardest for me, because I didn't know much about the mortgage business when I started, and I jumped in, full time, and I felt like getting people to trust me was scary. I doubted myself a lot. So I think for me, sales was probably the hardest, even though talking to people is like my favorite thing to do. Right,
you're very easy to talk to. When we talked about you started doing live videos, and you're like, I don't know if I can do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're literally wired for this. You've been doing that, and it's been going great for you. So
I think I actually picked up underwriting the fastest. I like knowing what the process is properly, and I pick it up really quickly. But I think for me, it was like getting myself out there and be like, oh my God, how are these realtors who've been in the business for 10 years going to trust somebody who's not even a year in the business, right? Right. That part was a big struggle for me when I started.
That's cool. We did the series with you. We did some training, and we did the podcast series. So what was for you the biggest takeaway from the training that we did?
You know what? I think it's the fact that even though you're new, this is something I kept hearing continuously too, is that even though you're new, you probably know more than, the clients that you're speaking with. You're their person to get information from, right? If someone's a first-time home buyer, they only know what's out there. But whereas in me, I'm in a position where I have access to more resources. I have access to people, and I can actually get the right answers for them. Right?
Even if you don't know it,
even if you don't know it right away.
No, but and if somebody, even if they've done 5 mortgages, so what? It's 5 years apart, and all the rules changed. The whole game is not even the same anymore. So their experience was 5 years ago may look nothing like today, because their situation may have changed. Certainly the rules and regulations have changed. And
for sure. Yeah.
Some of the things you want to do now that you could do 5 years ago be illegal today. You're literally you literally be like, you're going to jail for that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think it's just, that confidence, I guess.
Own your space, own your role, and be like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's really important, actually. That's a mindset really shift is what you have to have.
It is. Yeah. And also just really getting yourself out there. I mean, you guys had the coaching program we did really helped to shift your mindset. The mindset part is huge. I think that's also one of my biggest takeaways, right? It's when your mindset's different, if you're in a confident mindset, when you know what you want and you're valuing what you want, it comes off to the other person as well when you talk to them, and it reciprocates, right? They feel good about working with you and talking with you. So why not? Like, why not keep the conversation going?
Right.
So
I remember when you came to me and you were meeting with that realtor who said that he'd already had somebody. And I'm like, okay, here's what you say to him. And you killed it. And you're like, oh my gosh. And I was like, it was so great. That was awesome.
That was funny. Yeah, that was really great.
That's fun. Okay, so rapid fire questions. So answer these shorter answers. What's one thing people can't find out about you from Google?
It's that I was a junior singing champion when I was in high school. I competed. Yeah, I was in theater. I sang in concerts and I competed.
That's the one skill. I love coaching. I love training. But honestly, if I could sing, I'd be like, mic drop. I'm out. I'm going to go sing. Like, I love music, but I cannot sing. Like, I literally have like zero skill in it. So
that's okay.
That's
I mean, aren't you taking lessons?
Yeah, I've taken some lessons, but even my instructor, she kind of looks at me like, I don't know why you're here. Remember when that show, America's Got Talent, and they let people on that were really bad?
Yeah.
And it'd be like, Simon Sinek would be like, you're terrible, or whatever he do, right? Like, she was kind of looking at me like Simon Sinek, like, I don't know if I can help you. Like, you know.
No.
So, anyway, I just
find another teacher.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't compute in my brain. Like, what I hear sounds amazing in my head, but what anybody else hears is like, that is nothing. Like, they don't even recognize the song half the time. They're like, I don't even know what you're singing right now because you're so out of key. But anyway.
Oh, man, you're being too hard on yourself.
No, it's true. Seriously. My kids would say, yeah, that's true, Dad.
Agree with.
So what's a movie that everyone should watch at least once?
Oh, The Pianist. It has nothing to do with mortgages, but The Pianist is such a good movie.
Yeah, I got to watch that. It's on my list. What's one tool or piece of tech you can't run your business without?
My phone.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know how I'm going to tell my clients or reach my clients if I don't have my phone.
That's good. Okay. What's the best advice you've received as a new mortgage broker, your mortgage agent?
Does it have to be as a new mortgage agent, or can it be about life?
Make it about life.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't really about life, but I think it applies to what I do as well now. When I got into my account executive position in the automotive industry, one of my mentors, actually my main mentor, the one thing that he told me was, the moment you start doing something within a transaction that is for yourself and not for your client, back off. He tells me, back off and rethink everything, because everything that you do should be for your clients. It should be in the best interest of your clients. And that really struck me. This was an automotive. They were teaching me. I was a rookie.
Because that does not sound like anything they ever say in automotive. I'm just saying.
I know. I still keep in touch with him. It's amazing.
That's really good advice.
That really stuck. That really, really stuck. And I mean, that's what I've been doing anyway. Anytime I interact with anybody, it's never about me. It's about how are they going to benefit and how are we going to keep the relationship going. But when he said that, it just engraved. And now in whatever I do, that is there, right? It's in my brain.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so knowing what you know now, so if we could rewind the clock 15 months ago, anything you do different starting over?
Oh, for sure. Just talk to everybody and anyone. Just put yourself out there, start a conversation. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. If that gets you the confidence, you know, the worst that's going to happen is they're not going to respond, or they're going to say no, and that they work with somebody, or that, you know, oh, this might not be a good fit. So what? There's thousands of other people out there you can talk to, realtors, accountants.
And you don't need very many to build a fantastic business.
Exactly. You just need to find your tribe. You need to find the ones that you vibe with. And the only way you can do that is if you keep talking to people, and if you keep having a conversation, you know, engage with them. Because I was scared. I was really like conservative. Like, I was very picky, and I don't think I should have been. I should have just been like, hey, what's up? I'm new in the industry.
How you doing? Like, you see those like dating video, whatever. Anything. So like pickup lines, like, hey, what's up? Okay, so awesome. Where can people find you online?
Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Find me anywhere.
Do you have a website primarily used? Do you find that people find you through your website or through social media more?
Social media, mainly through Instagram, and then my referral network, my realtors and friends.
Yeah, this is my personal opinion. I don't think it matters that much as long as you're out there and serving people. And, you know, I don't think that the website is actually that important if you're you're building a referral-based business, but that's me.
Yeah, no, it's true. I totally agree with it. Everything I do is on Instagram. And then next to it would be like LinkedIn and Facebook.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Isabel, awesome to chat with you. I was so excited to just watch you keep crushing it. And I'll check out some of your live videos one of these days next time I'm on Instagram.
Oh, for sure. We're planning it with 3 realtors right now. We're going to meet up sometime this month. So
nice.
Hopefully we'll have some just there before December. For sure. Okay, thank you for having me, Scott.
This is an I Love Mortgage Brokering production.
Hey, Scott Peckford here. If you're making $100,000 plus a year as a mortgage broker and want to go to 200, 400 or more, check out our 10 Loans a Month Academy. We have several coaches who are all top performing mortgage agents, and they'll teach you their one special skill. Think of it like Xavier's School for Gifted Children if you've ever watched the X-Men. The difference is our coaches will teach you their superpower. One of our coaches, for instance, he built a $70 million a year business using automated webinars. Or another one of our coaches who did $100 million last year, built that with a third of it coming from Google reviews. And so he'll show you exactly what you need to do if you want to be able to build that type of business. Here's the thing I believe to be absolutely true. There's no problem in your mortgage business today that someone else hasn't already solved. Your problem is not how, your problem is who. All of our amazing coaches are active, high-producing brokers, and they can help you unlock new levels in your mortgage business. Since they're all active, we have a wait list and we have a limited number of spots available. So you can check out 10loansamonth.com. That's the number 10loansamonth.com. We only open spots a couple times a year. Check it out. And thanks again for checking out this episode.